So now this video, I just want to explain price action for you. And when I was talking, there's a video I posted on Shorts, or if it's this on TikTok, you see where I posted that if you what you just need to understand is for you to understand structure, market structure, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, or in an uptrend, higher highs and higher lows. Right now, let me explain this for you to understand market structure. Now on gold, right? On the daily time frame, as you can see what we're making here, this is a bullish structure, right? And now on this bullish structure, what we are getting a high. Right now on this structure here, this is a higher high, a higher low, equal high to this, then we made this higher low, then we push all the way up to this zone to make a new higher high. Right now, like I said, from higher highs to higher lows, higher highs to higher lows, right? But within that structure, the main structure, most times, sometimes you get counter trend within the main trend, which is this. Like if you look at this structure here, you see how we move from this zone here, where we made this equal high here. What we did was we make a new low, then we lower high, then we lower low. Then from this lower low, potentially you can say this is a lower low, this lower low, and also a higher low. From this higher low, we push all the way up to make a new higher high. Right now, looking at the 4-hour time frame, let's use the 2-hour time frame. Now I just want to break down what we call structure for you, so that you understand what I'm trying to say. If you understand this, if you can get this, I promise you the charts will look like very, 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 very easy and like very simple. You understand what I'm trying to say? Now, anytime we are moving from a new higher low, like on an uptrend, from new higher low to an equal high or a new higher high, right? What we will get is higher highs and higher lows. There's no any other structure we are going to get other than higher highs and higher lows. So now what do I mean? Look at this structure here. I want to start with this first structure where we made the first leg, right? You know, I explained on the daily time frame that we made a low, then we made a higher high, right? Then a higher low, then we made an equal high. Now look at those zones where we move from a low, which is a higher low, potentially a higher low, from to a higher high. Look at the structure on them, right? Now look at this. You see how we made this low here, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high. You can call this a higher high, a higher low. This is on the 1 hour time frame. A higher high, a higher low. We push all the way up, down. We are not. Then we drop down to this zone here, right? Let me bring it to this zone so that you can see it clear. Boom. Then we push all the way up to this zone, make a higher high, came back down to make equal low, which is this zone is now a higher low zone. Then we push up to all the way to this zone to make a new higher high. Now just look at the structure. Look at the way we switch structure, right? Like we said, inside those trends, there are also counter trends, right? Or now this, since it's a lower time frame, right? This is a 1 hour time frame. On the daily time frame, this whole drop down here was just a retracement, right? But now look at how you know that okay, we are switching now from bullish to bearish, right? Structure. Now look at this. From this zone, we push all the way up to this higher high. But guess what we did? We came back down to this equal low here. What did we do? We pushed all the way up and we were not able to make a new higher high. If we are in an uptrend, like I said, if we are in an uptrend, we should make the structure in an uptrend is higher highs and higher lows. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, right? But look at this structure here. From this structure here, we made this low. What we did was we pushed all the way up to this zone and we are not able to make a new high. What we did was make a lower high from this zone and we drop down, breaking the structure here. Once you get this, you know that okay, we are done with this structure. I don't know if you are trying to you are getting what I'm trying to say. We are done with this bullish structure. Once you break this thing and we start making lower lows and lower highs, right? Once you start getting lower lows and lower highs, you should know that you are done with that structure. Now this is the 1 hour time frame. On the daily time frame, just like I said, it should be a retracement. Now you see how from here what we did was make a new lower low, lower high, right? A equal low, a lower high, we drop down to this zone, which is like a lower low. And from this lower low, which now this zone is where price used as a higher low. Now from this higher low, guess what? Look at the structure we make from the new higher low, right? I'm just trying to just for you to look at the higher lows from the zones that we use as higher low zones, right? Which structure are we making on those zones? Now from this zone, you look at this zone here, which is a higher low zone, which is this zone. If you go to the daily time frame, right? This one I just point on the 1 hour time frame. On the daily time frame, it is a higher low, which is this. As you see how we drop down to this zone here, boom, we draw down to this zone to make a higher low, right? So this was a low, a higher high, a higher low, right? Now go back to the 1 hour time frame. On the 1 hour time frame, if you look at that structure now, from the zone where we said price used as a higher low zone, right? Which is this zone. Look at the structure price started making. From this zone which we use as a higher low zone, we push all the way up. Now we stopped making lower lows and lower highs. What did we start making? We started making higher highs, higher lows. We push all the way up to this zone here. As you can see, if you push all the way up to here, a higher high, a higher low, push a higher high, higher low, equal high, higher low. You can see the structure. Then we push all the way up to this zone, around this zone, which is higher high. We drop higher low to down to this zone, higher low. Just look at the structure, peep the structure we are making. I just want you to understand market structure, because if once you understand market structure, then you are good. Now look at this. We push up to this zone to make an equal high, a higher low. You see the way we are just respecting market structure. We are respecting bullish structure, not market structure. We are respecting bullish structure from the higher low zone. We are respecting bullish structure. We did not have any type of bearish structure. We push all the way down to this zone. We respected this low, right, to make this a higher low. Push all the way up to make a higher high. Then we drop down. What do we start? Look at where we had retracement from, right? Which is on the daily time frame. Now go to the daily time frame, right? That was an equal high on the daily time frame, which is this high right here. Look at this high here. Boom. This high here. You get me? So on this high here, on the 1 hour time frame, boom. On the 1 hour time frame, which is that high, equal high, right? Yeah, you can see this arrow pointing at that zone. Now look at what we did. From this zone, we started switching structure. What do? We made a low, a higher low. Just same thing. We were not able to make a new higher high. Same thing as this zone here. Look at this structure here. I just want to see how similar these things is. Look at this structure here. Once we drop down here, we push. We were not able to make a new higher high. What do? We made a lower high. Same thing happening here. Once we made a higher high, we drop down from this zone, right? If this is to be confirmed like a bullish structure, right, we should make a new higher high. But guess what we did? We were not able to make a new higher high. Instead, we made a lower high. Same thing here, lower high. And from there, we started getting a counter trend. Now, look at this structure here. I hope you understand it. If you understand this, oh my God. Like, if you see this, you can't unsee it. I'm telling you. Now, from this one, look at what we did. We made a new lower high. From the lower high, we push all the way down to make a new lower low. We push all the way up. Now, like I said, inside trends, we still have counter trend. Now, let's say from here now, you started seeing markets making higher lows, right? And you bought around this zone, right? Once you bought around this zone, price push all the way up. You move your SL to maybe break even, right? At this zone, look at what price did. From this zone here, we dropped to make a new low. equal low to this. Now from this equal low to this, what were we supposed to make? We're supposed to make a new high. But guess what? We made a lower high. We drop an equal low. We push up another lower high. Now this should tell you that okay, we are not ready. We are not ready. This bullish structure here is not fully bullish. This is still a bearish structure because this is respecting bearish structure. This is a lower high. This is another lower high zone. And you can see how we're making lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. From this zone, you know that okay, this structure is still bearish, right? And you can see the way we drop down, we started making lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. Now, this here was what is the counter trend that we had on the daily time frame. I just want for you to understand this. If you understand this structure, if you can see it, I promise you, it will be 10 times easier. You see the way we made this high, a low, a lower high from this zone. You see, this is what we call a counter trend, right? Now, on the 1 hour time frame, once we were done with the counter trend, I just wanted to look at this structure, right? Once we're done with the counter trend, guess what we started making? Once we're done with this counter trend, for making lower highs and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows, guess what we started doing? We push all the way up to this zone. And guess what we do? Instead of from this zone for we to make a new lower low, what do? We make a new higher low. Now, once you get a higher low, you see that price push all the way up, we make a new higher high. This is automatically telling you that, okay, we are done with this structure. This 3-cent structure we are getting right now, we are done with it. And now, if you go to the daily time frame, you can see that this structure here, this zone where we made this, started making higher lows from. If you go to the daily time frame, you see that okay, that structure on the daily time frame is still respecting this last lower high here, this last higher low. Sorry, so this was the last higher low zone, and you see where I put this horizontal ray here. Boom, it's still respecting structure because we did not break below this zone, right? Once you get that, and you on the 1 hour time frame, you see that price is you switch from making lower lows and lower highs to start making higher highs and higher lows. This automatically is telling you that, okay, we are done with this trend. You get? We are done with this counter trend. Now we want to go back to the main trend. And this zone here is also respecting the daily structure, which is this last higher low zone here. It's respecting it, right? So once you get this should confirm that, okay, this is a new higher low zone. Now, guess what? Look at the structure we started making from this zone that is a higher low zone, right? Higher highs, higher lows, higher high, higher low, higher highs, higher low, higher highs, a higher low, an equal high, a higher low. Then we make this push up, push down, go up, made an equal low, right? Still around this zone, still respecting bullish structure. Then we push all the way up, made a new high. And from there, you see how we push all the way up, came back down, retrace, still respecting structure, bullish structure, and we push all the way up to this zone, right? Now we push all the way up to this zone. From this zone right now, you see, once we make that higher low zone, we are not going to get any other structure other than bullish structure, which is higher highs and higher lows. We are not going to get any other structure. If once you start getting lower lows and lower highs, this is potentially telling you that, okay, we are maybe about to switch structure. You get? Or that might be a counter trend in the main trend. But once we make that higher low zone, the daily higher low zone, right? On the lower time frame, like higher 1 hour time frame, the 2 hour time frame, what you'll be getting is higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. Now, look at this structure here. We push all the way up to down, up here, push all the way up, higher low, higher high. Now, what do we make? We started making this potentially this should be this is an equal low with this, right? Now, from this zone, what should we get? We should potentially see price push all the way up to make a new higher high. But guess what? price made a higher low at this zone and we drop down. You get what I'm trying to say? Now, from this zone now, you started seeing price going back. We switch from this original trend and we start making higher highs, higher lows, right? Now, higher highs, higher lows. Potentially, you enter a long position from this zone. And we started seeing higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. Boom, we break down to this zone. Potentially, you could say this is an equal low, right? Then we push all the way up to this zone. What do? We started rejecting of this zone. So this potentially right now, you see why this should explain why I put alert here. You see this alert here, and you see this alert here, right? Now, like I said, if this is a higher low zone, the only structure we are supposed to get from this higher low zone is higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. We shouldn't get lower highs and lower lows, right? So now, if this is a higher low zone, like a daily higher low zone, from here we should continue with the trend, higher highs and higher lows. But now that we push all the way up to this zone and we drop down, and now we are making like a low. Now this low, a high, sorry. Now this high and this high, you can say that this high here is lower than this high. So this like potentially could be a lower high. Now, once you get this kind of structure, what you do is you wait for price to either break above. Now, if once we push, we push and we are able to break it above here, what is this now telling you? This is now confirming this structure, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. Then this will now be a higher high and equal low with this zone for which to now push all the way to make a new higher high. But if we drop below here, boom, what are we making? We are now making lower lows, lower high, lower lows, lower high, lower lows. You get? So if we drop all the way down now, this is now telling you that, okay, this is not a higher low zone. You get? So if you understand this structure, right? Once you understand structure, I'm telling you, 1,000%, it becomes way more easier. That's why you see me having this alerts here, boom, and having this alerts here. So if we break above, we push above this zone. This now is a higher high, right? And just like I said, in a daily higher low zone, a daily higher low zone, if this is a daily higher low zone, like if you go to the daily time frame now, we move to the daily time frame, and this is a daily higher low zone, right? This is a daily higher low. From this zone, we should be getting higher highs, higher lows. In the lower time frame, higher highs, higher lows. We shouldn't get any other structure other than higher highs, higher lows, higher lows. And potentially, until we potentially go up to this equal high, or we make a new high. You get? So now, on the daily time frame, on the lower time frame, like the 1 hour, what I'm trying to say, from if this is, like I said, the confirmed higher low zone, we should get higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Right? So now if we now break below this zone and we make a new lower low, this is now telling us that this is a counter trend in the main trend. You get? So now if we break down here, potentially we might see price go lower. So that means this zone is not a higher low zone. You get? This zone is not a higher low zone. So once you understand structure, right? Once you understand structure, you will know when to get in and when to get out. When you get in and when to get out. You get? Now, so now this is on gold, right? Potentially, if you see gold, push above this zone, right? This is an equal high. If we break above this zone, this is an equal high. Potentially, maybe we break above, right? You just wait for a new higher low zone for you to continue the trend. If we break above, now this is an equal high because price could go to this equal high and start retracing from that equal high. So you wait for price to break above and even pass that equal high, right? That high, then you should wait for a new higher low zone for which to continue, because now that this zone is not confirmed, like this is a higher low zone. You get? But if we are not able to break above, if we want to break below, then potentially you just wait for what you do. Same thing as this structure here, this counter trend that we had here, right? If we break below and like now we said we are making lower highs here and lower lows, lower highs here, and if you potentially make a no lower low, then you just wait for same thing. Once we are done with this retracement, right, we are done with this structure, this bearish structure. Once we want to start going back bullish, that is the original trend, you get the same thing as we got here. You start seeing price moving from lower lows to lower highs. You start seeing higher highs and lower high and higher lows. You get, it's as simple as that. So you start getting higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. Once you start getting higher highs from whatever zone, as long as we do not break below this zone, this is still confirmed on the daily time frame. As long as you not break below this zone, it's still a confirmed bullish trend. You get, on the daily time frame. So yeah, just like I said, if this is a counter trend, then potentially you just wait for whatever drop we're going to have. We might continue having lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. You just wait for when price is going to switch. Now, if I'm going to like draw it, right, potentially if we go down below, it might go down below to here. If we're able to break this last low, right, we're able to break this last low potentially, right? Maybe we drop down to here and we make a new lower high. We are able to break down. We continue with the bearish trend. This is a counter trend, right? Now, once we switch from making this bearish structure, which is lower highs and lower lows, right? Once we switch and we start making, maybe potentially from like a zone like this zone, potentially you start seeing price making, we are not able to make a new low again. What we did is now making a higher low. We push up, boom, a higher high. Now this is now telling you that, okay, this zone is a confirmed zone, potentially a confirmed zone. And you push up, you see another structure again, same thing, a higher low, a higher high. Now this is telling you that, okay, we are done with this structure. And you just look for a higher low zone, you enter, potentially price should break above, and we should see maybe an equal high or even a new higher high zone. You get? So once you understand structure, like just like I'm still saying, it will be like very, very easy for you. Now on the bullish side, right? Since it's not yet confirmed whether we are bullish or bearish, now on the bullish side, if potentially we break from here and we are able to break above this zone, boom, what you do is just wait for a new low, a higher low, right? And you enter. Once you enter, maybe it's confirmed, you get a rejection around this zone, you enter, then you see high high. You get? So that's just it. And that is why I'm always going to say market structure is key. Price action is key.